Hey folks, this is Rose from Rose's Garden, and today we're going to do something a little different. Something I rarely ever do on camera is paint my pieces. Well, I need some dragons. So for the new hair barrettes I am designing, so we're going to paint dragons. And we may even paint mushrooms because I need some of those too. So I have both mushrooms and dragons sitting down here on my desk, and we're going to paint those. I specifically need a couple of some green dragons. That will be these ones, and then I'll probably make a red and a blue, and the mushrooms, of course, are going to be the red and white kind. Anyway, for the dragons, I like to have a lighter green wings. And these little guys are along the tail here. The little scaly tail things. So we will paint those in this paler green, as well as the little guys. Now I will cut their ring off before I put them on the hair barrette. So now I don't need any greens for the mushrooms, so I don't need to worry about getting anything there. Though I will want some red, which I'll be getting that from a minute. I think I'll paint at least one of these blue and one red. So now I'm going to paint the darker green along his body. Now these are, they say Morphone on them, but they are also, a lot of my pins are Staw. They're the same, more or less the same thing. They just, made by the same company. They're just marketed by a different one. There's the... Now these are not done just because I have the green coloration on them like this. I will put somewhat Prima paint on the wings, because that gives a little bit of a glittery effect. Now if I didn't want to do that, that would be fine. You could stop right here. See how pretty those are, just like that. So there's my green dragons, the start of them anyway. Get you up there. Oop. Oh, we'll do that last. Let's do a blue one. I'm going to do a blue one here. I'm going to use the gold one. So the base color actually makes a difference when you're painting a piece. Now see, these ones are, oh, it's covered up. The Staw marking is covered by the tag, but he's pulling off his ink some. Some of these are too shimmery, and when that happens, I mean, they're just, the ink starts pulling away. That's because it probably should have been roughed up a little bit so it would stay better. But there's the blue outline of him. He's going to have something else, but I haven't decided, well, what other color he's going to get. This guy will be the red one. I put red all over on him because I have found that sometimes when I do my Prima paints, they stick better if they have already had some of this paint on them. So in fact, I will probably take the blue and go over my gold. See how it's pulling away though? It's like it's got oil or something on it. I may have to scuff this one up a little bit because the paint is not wanting to stick right. And that occasionally happens. We'll make this guy blue too. I don't know why the silver, it seems to stick to the silver color better than the blue, but it does. Now I painted him all blue and I painted him all red. They're not going to stay that way once I get the Prima paints out because they will. Now see, I'm just going to wipe his wings down because they're not sticking there anyway. So they might as well have a slightly lighter color on them. There. Now we've got the base coat on all of the dragons. We're going to start working on our mushrooms. Now the mushrooms, I'm just going to use the pink color on, though it actually, when it gets onto the bronze, you can see it looks more red than pink, and that's just fine because it's supposed to look red. So this is going to go right here. And I actually should have put some green maybe on these two spots there. We can still do that. We'll do it in a bit. Okay, so we've got the red on that one and that one. Now we'll put it on this and then the four little tinies. Okay, so just this little bit of the cap here. Come on, you turn over. There we go. Okay, now that we've got all of the acrylic paint pins done, well, we're going to get green for that one spot there, weren't we? that done. And I keep bumping these, which is taking probably some of the paint off because they're still wet. Okay. Now, what we need to do is, first of all, I'm going to give him another little bit of coat here to cover up some of these gold spots that are showing in my darker blue. Now see the difference in color between the silver and the gold? This one almost looks teal, and I like that. So we'll leave that alone. I notice I have a little bit of green here, so we will get that as well. A little bit right there. And then, of course, while I have these pins out, we'll do that little bit of green there we said we were going to give it. These two. Okay. Now the next step is to get my Prima paints out. Now those are regular paints. They're in a jar, they're wet. You put it on with a dry paintbrush. However, these need to dry some before we go on to the Prima, so we'll take a break here for just a bit. We're going to start with our blue dragons, and we're going to use this Prima paint called Deep Waters on at least one of them, maybe both of them. We'll see. We've got a number of other blues, so I will paint the dark blue in one part, whether it be their body or their wings, and the other one will be a different color. I think I'm not going to go with the wings for this color. So let's get this green one out of the way. And we're going to just dip it in here, and then we just paint over the top of their wings. Now you can see that it doesn't change the color a lot. The color's not that much different of a color, but it gives it some shimmer, and I like the shimmer. So now I also tend to paint these scales that go down their back in this same color. Shush, Rory. Not sure what's wrong with Rory. He probably can't find Finnegan. And that is his usual problem. I don't know why he feels the need to always have Finnegan nearby, but he does. So now we'll put this on this part of the gold painted one. It will go on the main portion of the body. There we go. Now, since this paint is not that different from the next paint I'm going to use, I am just simply going to use the same paintbrush. So this one is called Magical Pond. Huh. I thought I'd used this before, but obviously this is going to be the first time we use this because it is still sealed. So let's get the seal up some. Oh, it's sticking still. this is how I get paint on me most of the time. So this is a pretty color. Oh, but it's got a dry spot on top, but that's all right. We'll just move that aside and dip in. Now this I'm going to put on this guy's wings. I'll see how that makes a nice shimmery blue wing. This will probably need a second coat after it dries a little bit because it's brand new paint. Rory's still carrying on, but that's really not that surprising. Like I said, he likes to call for Finnegan all the time. So there is this blue dragon all finished. Now we need to set him aside till he dries. And because this one's, we're going to paint this one now with the lighter color over his body, but because, well, we're going to just put it here so we can start it right here. I was thinking I might want to change to a smaller paintbrush, which I still may, but right now we're going to just use this one. So there is our dark with light, and this is the light with dark wings, and that one was the dark with light wings. So those two are now done, and we will shut our paint back up. This was a pretty color, wasn't it? Now, I am debating my green ones. I have some lighter green paint, and I have some darker green paint. Maybe we use both again like we did on this one. So we're going to switch paintbrushes. We're not going to use a blue paint. Well, no, we're not. I've got other paintbrushes. So we got light green and dark green. So we'll do these just like we did these little guys. Now I know I've had this light green open, so I just got to find the place. There we go. So this will be the wings, and then we'll switch to dark green for the body of our little dragons. Well, our big dragon too. But now this color is quite similar to the color that I already had on it, so this is more or less just to give our wings shimmer. So move you back. Other little one can come forward here. And now the big ones. So there is the shimmer paint on our green ones. He needs just a touch more here. The silver's trying to get through. We'll wait till it dries just a bit and then we will add some more. So, did we get the silver up? I think we're still showing silver. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, that's pretty good. So then we'll just wipe that sort of here. And I painted myself. This is nothing new. I paint myself all the time. You can always tell if I've been painting because I'll have stuff all over my fingers. Now we're at the dark green. This one is called Golden Moss. Interesting title. Come on, baby. I know you've been open before, so there we go. This one's a little thick because it has been opened in before, so we'll be careful with that. So now we will carefully paint our little dragons here. Number one, little green dragon. Now I have left them like this with just the other color here without putting on the darker green, and we could have done that, but since I'm going to put both the little dragons on the same barrette, we're definitely going to want to paint the second one. So there's those two. Now we have our other dark, our big dragon here. see here. There we go. There's our big green dragon. So now we just have the reds to do. Though I have in the past put gold on my red dragon, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that. We may just paint red. So now these paint brushes will need to be washed out, but they wash with water, so with soap and water, so it's not a big issue. It's relatively easy to clean them. I'm just going to paint his wings with the other red, and I'm going to leave the color it would be with so maybe I'll see about touching his scales up here though. Now I will cut this ring off before I put them on the hairbreadths, but right now it's just a nice handy thing to hold on to. So there we go. There's our red dragon. Now we got to work on our mushrooms. Now this one's relatively simple because it's big and it's all red on the top until I add the white polka dots, but that's this last thing we're going to do. Oh, and the white on the... Now white does not stick when you put it on, so I have a trick, and that is that I use white fingernail polish for white instead of white paint. It works really good. There's that one. My Rory's being very vocal today. I'm going to try not to get into these little spots where it's going to be white, but I guess it doesn't really make much difference because the fingernail polish will cover it up. as you can see, the paint here that I'm using makes for this mushroom much brighter or darker of a red than the pen did. And that's why we use it, to give it that extra oomph of color. Okay, now for just the teeny tinies. Now they don't really need much because, well, they're so tiny, but they will get just a scoop of paint across them. Oh, that one's already painted. Oop, turned over. And the last little mushroom. Now the mushrooms have another step, and that's using the white fingernail polish, but they have to dry before we get to that point. The other ones are done, and as soon as they dry, they can go outside and be sprayed with a top coat to keep them from shedding out. Which they're not supposed to, but who knows, right? I just don't take a chance, and I spray them with some Krylon to protect them. Now I need to go wash my paintbrushes. Like I say, these are ready to go outside and be sprayed as soon as they dry a bit, and then we will need to finish off the mushrooms with the white fingernail polish, which goes everywhere, the stem and inside the cap, and then on the polka dots. And these type here actually have polka dots to fill in. The others we just use either the tip of the paintbrush or a little piece of metal. I use a little piece of metal with these tiny guys because, well, their spots are small. So anyway, we'll be back after a bit. Okay, we're at the final step. The dragons are all finished. We just have to finish our mushrooms. And to do that, we just use a cheap set of, cheap bottle of white fingernail polish. Doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, I advise no expenses, because all you're doing is going to be painting with it, more or less. And any white fingernail polish works. So we'll start with this guy, and because the rest of him is going to be the white other than the dots, so we'll just paint his stem, I guess you'd call it. And then under the cap, then the same with all of these little guys here. Just paint under the cap and on the stem. Now these still are a little bit sticky, but they're not so sticky that they're a problem. So that little mushroom got a dot already. So there's this. Oops, he's got more cap underneath here. Not sure how much we'll see it, but I guess we should try and paint it. This is my first time using these particular mushrooms. They're sort of cute. I think they'll work fine for me. Oh, we got some white on the green. Now that we didn't want. So take a touch of paper towel and just dab that off before it has a chance to dry. And we'll probably touch up the green because of it though. So let's get the next one of these. Now we do still have to do their little polka dots. And this one has the polka dots defined for us, whereas most of them don't, that you just have to choose where you want to put them. Now these dinky winky little guys. Now when I do them, I always put my finger on that little spot that's done because there's really not much to do with these. Just come on, let's get that little corner. And do not fall over. Okay, there's the last stem. Now we have to do the polka dots. So, thinking we'll try these polka dots just with the brush on the, because they are defined. So let's see how they go. That's good. So now we'll do the ones on this one. Oops, I'm knocking the polish off down there. Now, what we need to do is I'm going to find a piece of wire and I'm going to just dip it in, and then we will do little dots on these little guys right here. And the same with our little tiny mushrooms here. Just a dot here or there. Oops. Turn back over. Now we just have the big one to do, and I'm just going to use the brush because I'm just going to dab some paint dots here, there, in the next place. And there we go. They're all finished. Well, no, I wanted to touch up the green on this one, didn't I? So that's really simple. Just get our green paint pen back out and paint over the top. Now I just got to let these dry for a while and spray them. So as far as we're concerned, we're done. I just have, like I said, we're going to spray them with some Krylon Clear Coat to seal these up a little better, and then it is all finished. I think we're done painting. Hope you enjoyed painting these with me. I see I have a little spot right there that needs just a bit more white. And like I said, we'll cut the little shanks off so it doesn't matter if I got anything on them or not. It's been Rose from Rose's Garden, and we've been painting some dragons and mushrooms. I hope you enjoyed making those with me. I know that it was probably a little bit boring, but now you see how I do all of my painting on my barrette pieces and other things that have paints. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.